Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay, let's start this. Let's do a little cheersy cheers. Okay, cool. Wait, should I get the bottle? Let's get the bottle. Okay, welcome back to another episode. We're here with Irina. Should we talk about how we met? Okay, so we met on Bumble BFF.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember when it was?
This must have been like 2 years ago.
So we went out and we were talking about like relationships and stuff, and I thought it'd be cool to record an episode on it. I've been in a few. And we've been in the dating world. Describe the dating world in one word. Just
man. Commonly rephrasing what a lot of the girls are saying, it's a little dry.
Oh, are you comfortable talking about worst dates you've ever been on?
Worst dates you've ever been on? Yeah, I mean, I went on kind of like a blind date. He started drinking a lot, and I was like blown away by that. Mm-hmm. And then at some point he started crying. He started opening up to me about a lot of things, and I was like, I was off-put by that, but it was an interesting experience. But it was strange on the first date.
That was like your first time ever meeting or talking.
Exactly, yeah. So
okay, yeah. So that's that might be a little intense.
Yeah,
first date. But I have been on dates. Like guys have drank and they have gotten emotional.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that happens. This wasn't a date that I had been on, but I had talked to somebody who had been on a date where they went for a walk and then they brought his dog and his dog peed on her. Like he peed on her leg. Yeah, and then he was like, "Want to come back to my place to shower?" So that was, yeah.
That's funny, but it's not his fault, it's a dog.
It's too sad.
Yeah. He couldn't help it.
One thing we were talking about before is there's a difference between sometimes you think you're in love, but you're not. What's one way that people would know?
I think that's something that happens often with people where they think it's love, but it's actually lust. And with age, you kind of realize that when you're getting all those butterflies and strong emotions, but often that's anxiety. And sometimes we can't tell the difference between fear and something that you really want and you crave. We get drawn to fearful situations at times. So then you think it's love, but when you're calm and you just resonate with the person, that's more like love. It's like a fire that keeps you warm at night versus burning down that forest.
Yeah, that's a really deep way of putting it, actually. When I feel calm with somebody, that's a huge indicator. My cousin taught me that. Before you have the butterflies, you have the anxiety, but that's more of an addiction almost. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you think you're in love, but you just need to be validated rather than actually just being free in that relationship. I feel like love should feel free. It should feel like a really great friendship. What would you say is the key to free relationship? So like last.
Communication. And being able to navigate and communicate your emotion, even when it's difficult, even when you don't want to, even when you're scared that the truth will hurt the person.
They say that men are like years behind us. So what about the men that are not as caught up? Because how do you know when it's time to let it go or when it's time to actually let them the space grow and figure it out? Like, how do you?
It's more acceptable for us to communicate our emotions, and for men, they suppress it, so they kind of just lock it up and don't explore it. So once they do start communicating it and exploring that, they become a little bit more emotionally intelligent. So I think the key is to have patience and slowly introduce conversation, let them open up and give them a space, judgment-free. They're able to communicate things.
Mm-hmm. For me personally, I feel like I would always sort of see their willingness to be better, try to be better, because nobody's perfect. And I feel like both sides, like one person will carry 80% and one person will carry 20%, and then it'll flip. I don't believe in 50-50. A good way to see if that person is someone you should keep around is their willingness to try to be better. Do you think that the lessons you learn have to be expensive lessons? Do you think that you have to lose somebody for you to really learn a lesson, or do you think you can learn it in a relationship without and really like absorb it without having to lose somebody?
1000% it's possible, but that depends on the person. Mm-hmm. Not everybody learns from other people's mistakes. Mm-hmm. wise people do. They could just observe and experience it as if it's been their own experience, but a lot of people are too distracted and they don't pause and think about it, and they just go through the motions, and sometimes they just keep repeating the same mistakes. And a lot of times that conflict does arise is because both people have a lot of pride. And when you're with somebody that truly, genuinely cares about you, it should be you two against the problem versus you two against each other. So if you're both giving it 100% and you're both swallowing your pride, because pride is just getting in the way. When the other person is not judging you and they truly, deeply care about you, it doesn't matter. You don't need pride. Pride is just a defense against somebody that is out to hurt you.
Cheers to that, Irina. Cheers to that. No, it's so true. Like pride is a relationship killer. It's a disconnector. Like, I feel like for me in relationships, intimacy is so important. Whether it's in my friendships or like, my relationships, like when my friends like call me if I haven't talked to them in a long time, and like, you know, like I missed you. Like I'm so glad you called me. That it brings you closer to people. A relationship is like kind of a tier up from friendship because that's a lifelong partner. For you to be a team, for you to just like accomplish the things you want to accomplish together, you have to have that unquestionable trust. I want to ask you, what are ways that you determine who the people are that should be in your inner circle? Or like, what's a good piece of advice you give?
For me personally, it's just the vibe I get. It's my intuition. Am I able to just be my raw, authentic self and be not judged and just feel comfortable around that person? It's about the connection and the person being in my space. And if I'm comfortable with that, then they're a real friend.
You mean like when we're eating chicken curry at 4 a.m.? When you're eating it?
Usually, yes.
Exactly. Cheers to that.
That's how we bonded. That's how I knew you were a real one.
That was so fun. I was like almost 4 a.m.
I know.
Yeah, that was really, really fun. And you know what? Like, do you ever have that where you wake up the next morning wishing you savored a meal more?
Yeah, that was a really good meal.
It was so good. I loved it.
Yeah.
For me, I feel like, of course, I trust my gut. Like, I've actually, over the years, tested my intuition. I've trained it in a way, and I trust my gut, I trust my intuition. Because everybody wants to be a hero. But if you start with your bad news, everybody wants to save somebody or like be a hero, right? But if you start with your good news, like the people who are happy for you, I think that's a really good indicator of somebody who's really good.
1,000%. I guess somebody that you can sense a hint of jealousy, they don't want what's best for you. So somebody that is proud of you, they'll hear that good news and there'll be you'll get the vibes, good vibes. Reliability. Yeah, somebody that's there for you, that if you're going through something difficult, that you can call them and you can open up and they just have an empathetic ear.
Yeah. Do you believe that people value relationships more when they know they can lose it? Okay, first I'll ask you this. Do you believe in unconditional love?
That's a good question. It's hard to say. I think love should have some kind of boundaries. You could unconditionally love somebody, but that doesn't mean that you should have them in your life.
100%. And I kind of like to compare it to like losing your phone. You know, I have my phone here, I've had it all day. But if I were to just say, when I was meeting you today, like leave my phone somewhere and if I would find it, I would really hold on to my phone and make sure that I take care of it going forward. I value it more because my access to it was limited for even a short period of time. I think respect to me is so important in relationships.
I think you're absolutely right. And it's not just with the relationships, it's everything that we have in our lives. We start to value it when we notice that it's temporary, it doesn't have to be that way.
Do you believe in second chances?
It's one person or the other has to really change. And they must have to go through some life experience that doesn't happen overnight. So it is possible, but it's uncommon. It's true. So maybe 10 years later, you're a completely different person. You've learned through your mistakes. You've gone through a lot of different things. At that point, maybe it is possible, but you guys have to be new people.
For me, I'm very disciplined and show me that before I give you a second chance. Like, not just, but I do believe in second chances. Like, when do you remember feeling most joy?
Joy? It's definitely related to the people in my life. The happiest I am is based directly on the quality of people I have in my life. When I was in love, for sure, that's an exuberant, incredible feeling.
being in love is a beautiful.
It's always when you least expect it.
I feel like the best way to be in love is when you're in love with yourself.
Yeah.
Not in like
It's
a
deep.
narcissistic way. Like, I don't make sound like narcissist, but I'm so in love with myself. Like, you know, I know that sounds cheesy.
It's the most important relationship is the one you have with yourself.
And that affects everything. Friendships, relationships, and I feel like when I look at myself, in the past, I didn't have the best sense of self. Like, I didn't know who I was, I had social anxiety, nothing like I am today. And now I look at myself and I'm like, I'm not afraid of anything. I can do anything I want. I can be anything and everything I want. More than one thing. That's the best time to be in love. Because you really feel it, but from a place of freedom. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like when you're in a dark place and somebody comes into your life, you might use them as a crutch. You love yourself, you could stand on your own 2 feet, and you're just a better person overall. So loving yourself, you're not just doing it for yourself, you're doing it for all the people around you.
I don't think I've told my dream is to be a mom. It's what I'm meant to do. And your relationship with your partner will get past that. So it's important to have a relationship with yourself that affects your relationship with your partner, that affects your kids' view of like the world.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I ask when you learned self-love?
It's not like it happened overnight. You know, it's been going through tough times. Heartbreak definitely taught me that I have no other choice but to be there for myself. And I had to learn the hard way. But in the end of the day, it was the best experience that I've ever gone through because it did teach me how to stand on my own 2 feet. It did teach me self-love. But it was challenging and very, very difficult, but totally worth it. Yeah.
People usually think of rock bottom and they think it's a bad place, like you're not supposed to be there. When I think of rock bottom, because I've been at rock bottom, I think congratulations. Life begins here, right? Because rock bottom is like when you realize that nobody is coming to get you. You gotta get yourself out. It's kind of like a place where you're supposed to be by yourself and you're supposed to be like, you know? And then like there's beautiful things that come from that.
Exactly. And on the plus side, there's no way to go other than up when you're at rock bottom. But you don't really see that at the time.
Yeah. So then you realize like you're capable of that, you can overcome anything.
That's exactly it.
You know?
Is that you know that you can go through it. And that gets you through future trials and tribulations.
Like hardship builds character.
Yeah.
I almost feel like the generations before us, and I feel like I've officially hit 30 because now I sound old because I'm like, the generations before us, like how our parents would like, you know?
Yeah.
But I feel like they're too censored.
1,000%. The kids that were bullied when they were younger, the ones that got through it, got past it, they're the ones that have tough skin. And then when they're older, they can get through anything. But kids,
sense of self, which leads to like success. I watch a lot of TED Talks because I really want to be a good mom. Like I watch a lot of TED Talks, like whether it's like, I'm homeschooling because I'm going to homeschool my kids, or even just like what makes successful kids. And one of the things is having their own sense of self. So that can be exploring different cultures, different religions, exposing them to like different lifestyles. And then they have that exposure that allows them to create their own sense of self.
I love that. And it's also gives them independence and allowing them to make their own mistakes and learn from them. If you make the decisions for them, they'll never learn from it. And then they might resent you for it. So I love that, giving them that space to be themselves, their true selves.
To build their own sense of self. So what to you is the scariest thing about love?
Losing it.
Yeah.
It's probably the most painful thing because you get attached to it. You can't help it. You're a human being. Right?
Yeah. For me, the scariest thing about love is losing my sense of self. I'm terrified of that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm really scared of not having my own identity in it. I have to have my own identity.
What about that scares you?
I think it's the idea of getting lost in it.
It's like when two people are together, you naturally learn from each other. So parts of you will change and parts of them will change to kind of like compromise in a way. You know, sometimes it happens subconsciously and then you lose the person that you were initially. So I think it takes a conscious effort to maintain that. And I think it's super healthy for couples to have their own individual lives, you know, and in the end of the day, come back to each other and share.
Mm-hmm. You value each other better when you like go off and you do your own thing. When you come back, it's like you miss each other.
Yeah.
And that's important. Like you have to have that.
Some healthy space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, what do you look for in love? Other than like, you know, consistency, understanding, there's accountability. Yeah, like what do you look for?
It's just the day-to-day, you know, can you laugh together? How do you feel around that person? Just seeing that person that you love just brings up your mood. And just seeing them will make you happy and put a smile on your face. And that's how you know that it's good.
One thing that I experienced that I think is so important is to have somebody who inspires you.
Mm-hmm.
You know when you have somebody that like you don't need them but you want them, and just being with them like makes you want to be better.
Yeah.
And makes you just want to, it makes you believe like you can do anything.
Yeah, like your support system, and then you're learning from them and they're also learning from you. What's the one thing that makes you feel loved that your partner can do to make you feel loved?
To make me my partner can do to make me feel more. I'm gonna need really making an effort to understand me. Like I think that is such a big, when maybe I'm not easy, like making an effort to understand me. Yeah,
Make you feel seen.
Like when I don't deserve it. Like for them to be like, hey, like can you help me understand you? Like can you explain to me? I think I would feel so loved if someone did that with me.
Making that effort to understand.
I think that would make me feel. What about you?
I think similar to what you said, just to feel seen. Sometimes people don't really recognize the details because maybe they're not giving it much thought. But then the person that really dives deep into your psychology and asks you why and shows you that they care, yeah, that would make me.
Yeah. What does your dream life look like?
My dream life is having a partner that where we have a really good dynamic, where it feels like fun, and also having good friends around and family. At the end of the day, it's all around those things. Everything else will come into place for me.
I feel like when you feel good, everything just comes into place. Jeez, Irene, are you ready for mine?
Oh man, I think so.
What do you want to try again?
Alright,
Okay.
I'm ready.
So mine, I thought a lot about this. Because I'm a bit of a dreamer. So mine is I want to be somewhere in the outskirts, like outside of the city. I want to have a modern style farmhouse. I have 5 kids, 3 husbands. No, I'm kidding. Just one husband. And we're gonna have a backyard farm. And I kind of just want to be that mom that homeschools and has a couple of chickens and a pig and a dog.
I love that.
That's my
Yeah,
dream.
some gardening. That actually sounds picturesque.
Yeah, and I'm so happy that we did this. I feel like we always have deep conversations, like even when we went out.
It came so natural to us. I think we're very aligned on that aspect.
Yeah, so this is really nice. And hopefully people took something away from this. Okay, we will see you guys on the next episode. I hope you enjoyed. Share with anybody who can relate, and like and subscribe.